and welcome to this week's video. And yes, there are now 100 videos on this channel. So to celebrate that, I'm going to set myself a little bit of a challenge, and that is to draw Hedwig, the snowy owl from Harry Potter, without using any white. So if you're ready, let's go.
So here is a picture of the reference photo that I used to draw this owl, and the things that I used were just some paper and lots of different colour pencils. If you want to know exactly which ones I used, I will put the list in the description box below. So you're probably wondering, why is this a challenge? You're drawing a white owl on white paper, so job done, right? Well, kind of, but the whole point of my video this week was to show you that white feathers aren't just white. So the challenge was more about which colours to use to colour the white fur than not being able to use the white pencil. But I did miss my white pencil because throughout the process of this colouring I would normally have used it to blend the layers of coloured pencil. So I did miss it, but there we go. So how do I choose the colours I'm going to use? Well, I did do a quick tips video this week, which I will link in the information card up above, and that was to show you basically an easy and clever way to see what colours you can use. So go and check this out. It shows you how I pick my colours and a good way for doing that yourself at home using a little gadget that you can make really easily. So when you're drawing white feathers, then you have to remember that the light and the layers of the feathers is what creates shadows, and these shadows are what we're trying to colour. And it's also important not to forget, of course, that although this is a white owl, the actual colour of individual feathers does vary. So it's obvious on the owl's head and the eyes and beak, of course, but maybe not so obvious on the rest of the owl. So what I usually say is to have a really close look at your reference photo, and in doing so you will see that some feathers can appear yellow, grey, and in some areas even blue or possibly a bit of green. So it's also important not to forget that yes, there are some areas that are just white. So we need to remember to use the white of the paper to create these areas too. And that is what gives us a really nice contrast with the black of the beak, the yellow of the eyes, and really helps to make our colouring in pop at the end. So when you're colouring in, you don't have to fill every space. You can use that white of the paper, and that can be used as a colour in itself. So the process that I went through for this drawing was, as I usually do, was to have a really good look at my reference photo and then make a rough sketch with a pencil, a light pencil, just to show the main structure of the owl and indicate where some of those darker areas are going to be, where the feathers cross over, and that was basically where I started. I then went in after I'd chosen my colours and began at the top of the owl with the best bits, so that's the eyes and the beak for me anyway. I really like colouring those areas in. So when you're picking your colours and you've chosen what colours you're going to use for those shadows and those slightly different coloured areas, my advice would be not to focus too much on the fact that you're drawing a white owl, because that can stop you from seeing what's really there. So it's a really good idea to kind of block that part of it out and trust what you see. So look at separate areas, section areas off, and look at them closely and try not to think of it as a white owl. So go with it, trust your instincts, give it a try, and this is how you learn really. And you'll know then what works and what doesn't work. And it's okay to make mistakes, so sometimes you might not always get it right, sometimes it doesn't look quite how you imagined it would. But that's how you make progress. You make progress by making mistakes and learning from them, so you can know what to do or what not to do for next time. And that's how we learn valuable lessons and progress with our art. So colour pencil can be a time consuming thing to use to colour things in, and you do require patience, as I think I've said before, and not using white wasn't too much of a challenge, to be honest, but to blend those layers, instead of using the white pencil, I tried to do the same with a very pale grey, and it did work. It wasn't too bad. But obviously the more layers you add, the better these colours blend together, these wax pencils that I'm using anyway. But if you did want to speed up your process, you can use baby oil to blend colour pencils, and I did a video on this which I will also link, and that was when we drew Boss Baby. So go and check that out if you want to see the sort of effects you can get when layering colour pencils and blending with baby oil. Another substitute for this is to use a solvent, but I haven't used that on this channel yet before, and maybe that's a video for another time, but it's not the sort of thing that you'll have lying around the house. So it took about an hour and a half for me to do this picture, and obviously I've sped it up for you, otherwise you'd be falling asleep in your chair. But I think we got quite a good result in the end, and the last thing really that is left to do once I've finished is to show you just exactly how many pencils I did use to colour in something that is supposedly just white. But let me know what you think.
Well, that's all for today, Artcadets. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, don't forget to give it a like, comment and subscribe to my channel. And don't forget, I've got 2 videos next week as well, so check out the quick tips on Tuesday and our regular Friday video. Also, if you want to see me do this pastel picture of an owl, you can head on over to my other art channel, The Art Hive. I'll see you soon. Bye.